Some of the people at my job think I have it all figured out. And some of them might be right, but not in the ways that you think. But recently, I was asked to lead a conversation about it. And I said yes, but I kept it very, very, very surface. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about what I actually wanted to say. If you're new here, I'm Erica Prevail, and I talk about lifestyle redesign, modern work culture, and how I cured myself from corporate brain rot after career burnout. I also talk about wellness and creativity. So let me tell you, a few weeks ago, I had a coworker. So first, I'm still navigating a 9 to 5 while I build my business. And a few weeks ago, I was asked privately, someone came to me and asked if I would lead a wellness conversation, but they didn't say wellness. They said like a self-care conversation. And let me go back a little bit. So I work on multiple teams, and on this particular team, we meet daily to discuss project updates. So that's a little bit of context. So when this person came to me asking if I would lead a self-care conversation, I'm gonna say wellness because that's really what it was, but she said a self-care conversation. I was honestly like taken aback a little bit. And I said, because it was like a very out of the blue kind of ask, like it really had nothing to do with anything. And then she kind of just asked if I would lead a wellness conversation. And I said yes in the moment, but I was taken aback. So this happened weeks ago. And when she asked me to lead the conversation, it was going to be weeks ahead. But I just thought about it more and more. And let me also tell you this, like no one at my 9 to 5, like knows what I do. Nobody knows like the parts that you know about me. So after like a few days after, I just thought more about it. So I reached out to the woman who asked me, and I just said, I asked her, I said, out of all the people on the team, like what made you ask me to lead a wellness conversation? And she was like, Erica, you just appear to be like the most balanced person, and you appear to really take care of yourself, and you still are like a great like employee. So I was like, that's interesting. Like it made me have a lot of thoughts. It made me have a lot of thoughts around this because, as you know, because I've talked about it multiple times in my videos, like it costed me a lot to get to this place. I could almost get emotional. Me experiencing burnout, like severely, being overweight, 60 pounds, being on 2 types of medication, being in a leadership role that was just very demanding, high stress. And me saying to myself, my body pushed me to say it, but me saying to myself, I'm not doing this anymore. I cannot live like this anymore. And then taking it a step further of taking a nearly year sabbatical to take care of myself, to heal. And now that I'm back in corporate America, like I've said before, I had gotten very clear on my sabbatical to know that when I was ready to go back into corporate America, I could not go back into that system and that construct the same way that I had left. Like there would be no way. So that's why I say over and over and over and over and over again that my health and wellness is my ultimate priority. So I'm having these reflections of like people seeing this in me without me having to say a word. Like my care for myself, my prioritization of myself, the way that I treat myself is visible. So I'm just having reflections of like being seen in this way without even having to say anything. And that was a powerful revelation to me, again, especially in the workplace where I don't talk about the things that I talk about to you openly, of course, because they would not get it. You have to be in a place that where you're really just, like my grandma used to say, sick and tired of being sick and tired, and start making different decisions for yourself in your life. And it also made me think to myself that when I was going through my season of burnout, and particularly when I had made the decision to leave my corporate healthcare leadership 6-figure job, I had no models. I had no possibility models. I had not seen any other women do what I was doing, because at the time, this was back in 2022. I'm sure people were talking about it, but I didn't hear anybody talking about it. I felt I was talked about. I was called crazy. People probably thought I was on my way to a mental institution for making these drastic life decisions. And I had to do it on my own. And I'm saying, of course, I had my therapist, I had my doctors. Girl, I even had a psychiatrist at the time. I had like professional support, but I really did not have any like real life support where like a friend or a family member or even someone on the internet was showing this is what they've been through, and then they left and then they're out on the other side. I did not have any visual representation of that. So I was really going through my transition project, my redesign pivot by myself, especially in those beginning stages. Because again, people thought I was slap crazy, girl. They thought I was crazy for leaving. They definitely thought, like, who do you think you are to be taking this extended time off? Like, girl, I was talked about like a dog. I lost a very dear friendship to my life decision. And just all of these reflections just came to me again. Of course, I've had it. I've been in my lifestyle redesign for 4 years now, but it just all came back to me when she asked me to lead this wellness conversation at work. It's like, of course, I'll have a conversation, but ultimately, y'all really don't know what this cost. Like, y'all see me as this person today, taking care of myself, very calm in the workplace. And I ain't saying these people don't be getting on my nerves. Of course, people in the workplace get on my nerves, but just having a regulated nervous system, like they see this, but do not understand what it costs to get here, because I really did not have an example. What I did was have to move in a way that felt good in my body. I had to move where it felt aligned, and I had to be very intentional with every step that I took while not having any, like I said, possibility models or any visual representation of what I was trying to walk towards. So the day came where I led the conversation, and it was a short conversation. It was about, because when we do these type of meetings, it was an in-person meeting, and it was about 10 people. And, I led the conversation. They asked to, show a video. So I found like a very corporate appropriate YouTube video to talk about self-care in the workplace. And yeah. And then afterwards, just like a light conversation, was had afterwards. Like I said, I kept it very light. I kept it very surface, and not necessarily because I wanted to hold back all of the wealth of information that I have, the conversations that I have with you here on YouTube. based on my own experiences, the way that I've been able to study different things, the way that I've seen other women move and pivot in this space. But I feel like that's corporate really don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear. And again, this is my opinion. Okay. This is my opinion based on my lived experience. I just believe that corporate doesn't actually want to hear what it would take to really give employees what they need to really prioritize themselves, particularly in large organizations where they know people have a desire to move up the corporate ladder, and what that level of abandoning yourself looks like internally. Like corporate don't want to hear that. So again, I kept the conversation very light. I kept the conversation just very surface level. I really did. And another thing, because after the conversation, everyone was like very engaged and enthusiastic, and they were like, "Oh, Erica, this was so great. Could you do this quarterly?" And I'm like, "Nope, I have a consulting fee for that." Because listen, can we talk about it? Can we talk about it? No, I cannot do this quarterly because this is not a part of my job description. You're not paying me to do this. I have a consulting fee for that. Because let's really talk about it. I feel like, and again, this is my personal opinion based on my lived experiences, because it has happened all throughout my corporate career, all throughout from my 20s all the way till today in my 40s. As soon as you do one more thing, one more favor, one more task, even if it's something like you don't mind doing, like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that for you real quick, or yeah, I'll go ahead and take that on real quick, it then becomes your job. It's like when you raise your hand to do something, it then becomes your job. It then becomes more when you're not getting more in your paycheck. And I feel my lived experience is that I truly believe that either it could be intentional or unintentional. I'm not here to go into that, but I feel like corporate will drain you of every skill, gift, resource that you have if you let them, without giving you an extra dollar. And that's why I said it in a joking way when they're like, "Oh my God, Erica, because this is something that you can do quarterly. It was so helpful." I cannot. I cannot. No, because I have a whole consulting fee for that. I'm not going to be now the corporate wellness strategist when that's not a part of my role. It was a cute little thing to ask, and I'm glad that it was helpful and beneficial to you all. But if that's something that you would like more of, I have a consulting fee for that. And oh, when I had told one of my friends, she was like, "Girl, you crazy, but you ain't wrong." And I know I'm not wrong. And it's because, again, we have to be and this is why, again, I have these conversations. I'm not anti-corporate. I'm not anti-achievement. I'm not anti-success. I'm pro your awareness. I am pro you being aware of these things. So when you're in these systems, when you're in these constructs, you know how to move, pivot, and take care of yourself. That's why I have these conversations. And you got to be always aware. You have to be always on it, because you see how easily, if I had not done this years, I'm kind of going on a tangent now, but if I had not done this years of self work on myself, I could have easily been pulled into that trap of just them saying, "Hey, Erica, this was so great. Is this something that you could do quarterly?" And me having to feel, "Oh, like these people validated me." No, God validates me. Sorry. I could have easily been pulled into that. And then here I am taking on more work that this is not even in my job description that I'm not getting paid for. So no, I cannot. I cannot. And I want to just say that when you get to a place of I am and choosing yourself and prioritizing your health and wellness, people will look at you sideways sometimes, like in a good way or in a bad way. Because for me, when I was on a team, when I was in my healthcare leadership career and I left, people looked at me sideways, kind of like in a negative way, like, what are you doing? Like, who do you think you are? Like, basically, are you crazy? Da da da. And now people still look at me sideways, but it's almost in a level of curiosity, kind of like, what is she doing? Like, I can tell there is something different about her. Like, what is she doing? And because I don't tell these people my business, they are just very curious of like how I present, because like my energy exudes prioritizing health and wellness. Yes, that's what she does, and that's what she will continue to do. And particularly, I'm in a situation now, like you say, I'm not always saying yes to everything. I do have boundaries. And let me put this little caveat in here too. Boundaries are good, but boundaries aren't any good if you're not putting them into effect and if you're not holding the boundary. And again, it ain't got to be nothing so rigid or no space to be lenient, because even me using this example of having the wellness conversation at work, like, of course I said yes to this initial one, but the moving forward is a no, because this isn't something. So having a boundary is one thing, but actually enforcing it is another. And they look at me differently too, because they know I have a master's degree. I think some of them may know that I had my previous career in healthcare leadership. I think at least maybe one or two of them know. But I don't have no desire to climb because I'm building something for myself. So people, they just look at me in a very curious way because of all of those things, because I don't always say yes, because I have boundaries that I enforce, because I'm not hungry to climb the corporate ladder, because I do good work, and because it exudes off of me that she takes care of herself mentally and physically. So what do I have in my notes here? Oh, I feel like, so since I did not have like anyone to like be a possibility model for me during this time, that's why I'm having these conversations to maybe be a possibility model to someone else. And when you start making these pivots in your life, you can then be a possibility model to someone else as well. Like, I didn't choose this life to be an example. I chose it because my mind and body ultimately forced me to. And then when I saw how much better I felt mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, creatively, like in all the ways, I was like, yeah, I'm never going back to that space. I'm never putting my health, my wellness, my creativity, my imagination, my emotions, like I'm never putting that at risk again for achievement, for success, for a corporation. Again, I'm still an ambitious woman. I have desires, I have goals, I have the things that I want to accomplish, but I'm never putting those things at risk at the cost. I'm never going to put my health and wellness at risk at the cost of reaching those things. But that's how it works. First, you live it, and then it becomes the thing that someone else can point to later, you know? And I want to be that person. And that's why I show up here, did it for 100 days straight. Now I'm doing it 2 days a week, having these types of conversations. And if any of this resonated with you, I want you to know that it is possible for you. You don't have to turn your life upside down overnight. It's about starting to notice, because you cannot simply just rest your way out of this. Yes, rest helps, but you can't only just rest your way out of this. You have to interrupt those patterns. And the ambition reset does that. The ambition reset helps you start to shift some of those patterns that adds to your exhaustion, that adds to some of the beliefs you might have. And it's a 7-day audio project. And it's not about throwing away your ambition. That is never what I'm advocating for. It's about resetting it in a way that works for you. So if that's something that you're interested in, I've linked the ambition reset down in the comments and the description box. But let me know if any of this resonated with you. I just thought I would share, about what happened, at my 9 to 5 and being asked to lead this conversation on wellness, like just out of the blue, just because of the energy, that I presented. And I see in my notes here, definitely didn't want to forget this part. See, I get to talking. That's why I have these notes, because I get to talking and then I be somewhere else. But I know that's why you like the videos, because I'm not like heavily scripted. I just have a topic and I get on here and I get to talking. But so the wellness conversation that I led happened on a Friday. So that Monday, girl, when we got back to work, because again, remember I told you on this team, we have a daily check-in call for project updates. So during that Monday call, not one, not two, but 3 of the team members said on the call, like, again, just how much the conversation kind of like they were just able to reflect on it even more over the weekend, and the things that they did on the weekend to take care of themselves and the things that they want to do moving forward. And I just thought that was cool, because I do think that everyone needs a tap on the shoulder from time to time, but you really have to want it. Like, again, you can have all the information in the world, you can have all the awareness in the world, but what are you actually going to do? What are you going to actually put into action? What are you actually going to move forward with? So I was happy to see that, even a small, very surface level conversation could offer that level of impact to this group of people. And I just hope that is something that they can continue to prioritize for themselves, add on to as they continue to move and grow and develop in their own lives and careers, and it just goes to show that even the small little seed or the small little nugget of information could, just be planted and bear fruit in whatever way that looks like for someone else. So, yeah. Let me know if any of this resonated with you. Let me know. Share some feedback with me down in the comments. Go ahead and like this video. And again, if the ambition reset is something that you think you would be interested in, to start shifting those patterns, because you can't just only rest your way out of it, I've linked it down in the description box. And yeah, I feel like, again, my coworkers think that they want what they see in me, but it comes with a cost. And the cost is always worth it if you're willing to prioritize yourself. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.